I spent my 75th birthday sitting at a table set for 5. Eating alone. My family was supposed to be with me. Instead, they were on a beach somewhere, sipping drinks I paid for. The money was meant for something else, something special. My birthday. A chance to feel seen. To feel wanted. They told me it was going to be a celebration. A real one. They said, "Get your nice clothes ready. Mama, we'll take care of the rest." I believed them. That day, I cooked like I always do when I love someone. Fried chicken, macaroni, yams, fresh greens. I lit candles. I put on the dress my husband used to say made me look 10 years younger. I curled my hair. I waited. But nobody came. You see, something shifted in me that night. I may be getting old. Yes, but I'm not blind. And I'm certainly not powerless. So thank you for sitting with me. Thank you for letting me speak this pain out loud. Before I tell you the full story, could you do me one small favor? Tell me what time is it where you are right now, and where are you listening from? I like to imagine you out there. Maybe curled up on your couch or walking in the evening air. Just listening. If any part of this story already feels familiar, or touches something deep inside, leave me a comment. I read them all. And if this kind of truth-telling matters to you, hit that subscribe button. It's quiet gestures like that, the small kindness of strangers, that help Tenacity Tales keep sharing voices that often go unheard. My name is Diana. Everyone calls me Miss D. And now, let's listen to my story. It was February when Andre first brought it up. He said it so casually, like it was already decided. "We're putting together something special for your birthday this year. Mama, a real getaway. Warm weather. Palm trees. Just pack your pretty dresses, we got the rest." I remember I was sipping my coffee when he said it. I laughed so hard, I almost spilled it in my lap. It had been years since anyone even mentioned celebrating me like that. Ever since Harold passed, my world had gotten smaller. I went to church. I went to the pharmacy. That was about it. I hadn't stepped foot on a beach in decades. The idea of sunshine and ocean air felt like something out of a dream. I asked about the cost. Of course. Andre just waved it off. "Didn't you work your whole life? Mama, you deserve this. Let us do this for you." A few days later, he brought up the logistics. "We just need your card to lock in the group rate before prices go up. Just for the reservation." Mama, I hesitated. Just for a moment. But then I looked at him, my boy, and I handed it over. I didn't ask too many questions. I wanted to believe. He told me we'd be going late April. Maybe early May. Right around your birthday. He promised. I asked again. Later. Just to make sure. "We're still going." "Right. Of course," he said. "It's all coming together. It'll be your birthday." Exactly. That was enough for me. I bought a new suitcase. Purple. It was on sale at the pharmacy, clearance tag still on. I left it right by the front door, like it was already halfway packed. And then, slowly, over 2 weeks, I began to fill it. There was a sundress with hibiscus flowers I'd been saving for something special. My church sandals. A straw hat I hadn't touched in 8 years. And, tucked in a small inner pocket, a folded handkerchief that once belonged to Harold. Just in case. He could still come with us in spirit. It was quiet that evening. The kind of stillness that feels like the house is holding its breath. I had just finished setting aside my favorite earrings, the little gold hoops Harold gave me for our 30th anniversary. I planned to wear them with the floral dress tomorrow. I even ironed it again. Even though it didn't need it, I just wanted everything to be perfect. The suitcase was zipped but not closed. Like it, too, was waiting. I stood in the hallway, admiring the way the soft light hit the purple bag near the door. I was smiling, humming an old Mahalia tune under my breath. Then the phone rang. I didn't rush to answer. I thought it might be Brianna. Maybe calling to ask what time dinner would be. Or maybe Andre, checking to see if I needed anything picked up. I picked up the phone and said, "Hello," like I already knew it would be someone I loved. It was Andre. His voice was off, windy, like he was in the car, driving too fast. There was music in the background, loud, bass heavy, not his usual tone. "Hey mama, listen, don't be upset. Okay, I've been meaning to call you. Just been real busy." He trailed off for a second. I felt my chest tighten. Just slightly. That creeping sense when you know what's coming before it arrives. We're gonna have to, postpone the trip. Just for a little while. Nothing serious. A couple of scheduling things came up. Shouldn't be more than a few weeks. There was a long pause. On his end. On mine. I moved over to the couch. Phone still pressed to my ear. My hand touched the fabric of the sundress I had folded earlier. The one with the hibiscus print. "Oh. I see," I said softly. I made sure my voice didn't shake. "I promise it's not canceled." He added quickly, "We're just adjusting things. We'll still make it happen. Mama, right around your birthday. It'll still be special." I smiled at nothing. My reflection in the darkened window didn't smile back. "So, you'll be by for dinner tomorrow at least, right?" I tried to sound casual, like the idea of them skipping even that hadn't already begun to eat a hole through me. I could hear tires rumbling now. A car door slam in the distance. A pause. Yeah. Yeah, of course. "Mama, we'll stop by. Wouldn't miss it." He said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Like he hadn't just rearranged the whole picture I'd been building in my mind for months. "All right then. I'll see y'all tomorrow," I said. Soft. "Love you. Mama. Love you too. Baby." We hung up. I sat there on the edge of the couch, holding the phone in my lap. The air felt different, like something had been let out of the room. I turned and looked at the dining table, still bare. But ready? The candles I planned to light were already on the sideboard. The fancy china was still high in the cabinet, waiting to come down. There were fresh string beans soaking in water. A pie crust chilling in the fridge. I whispered to the room, like someone was listening. "Okay. Plans change. That's all right." I said it out loud like it was a truth. But it felt more like a plea. I stood slowly, walked back into the bedroom, and laid the sundress across the bed one more time. Smoothed it down like smoothing out hope. Then I turned off the light and sat by the window. Just for a minute, letting my heart readjust to the quiet. The morning of my 75th birthday started the way I used to dream birthdays would start. I woke up early before the sun had fully risen. The light that crept into my window was soft and golden, like it had come to wish me a quiet joy. I turned on my gospel playlist. Mahalia, Aretha, the Clark sisters. I let their voices fill the walls of the house like a warm choir. A holy reminder that I was still here, still breathing, still able to love. I put on a fresh pot of coffee. The good kind, the one I save for holidays. I sprinkled cinnamon in the filter, just the way Harold used to like it. I could almost hear him humming from the hallway. Then I started cooking. I didn't cut corners that day. I didn't reheat old meals, or open a can of this or that. No. I peeled fresh yams, seasoned the chicken with smoked paprika and garlic, slow-cooked the string beans with turkey necks, boiled macaroni for the cheese casserole until it was just right. I even made the sweet potato pie from scratch, real vanilla this time, not the imitation I keep for everyday use. While the pie was in the oven, I pulled down the china, the good dishes with the gold trim. The ones wrapped in paper towels and stored on the top shelf since the last time we were all together. I set the table for 5, 1 for me, 1 for Andri, 1 for Brianna, 1 for Amini, and 1 just in case they brought Tyrell or a neighbor or someone needing a plate. The house smelled like memories, like Sundays, like love. When I went to get dressed, I took extra care. I pulled out the blue floral dress Harold once said made me look like springtime walked in. I pressed it again, just to be sure there were no creases. I curled my hair, dabbed on rose-scented powder, added a little lipstick, not too much, just enough for me to feel like I mattered. By 5:00, everything was ready. Candles were lit. Table was set. The pie sat cooling on the counter like a prize. By 6:00, I started glancing at the clock. By 6:30, I was reheating the macaroni and the greens. Just a little, just to keep it warm. By 7:00, I was still smiling, still hopeful, still telling myself, they probably got stuck in traffic. Or maybe Amani spilled something on her dress, and they had to turn around. By 8:00, I stopped making excuses. By 9:00, I was sitting at the table alone. The candles had melted down halfway. The food was lukewarm. The fried chicken lost its crisp. My lipstick had faded. My shoulders felt heavier than when the day began. I stared at the 4 empty plates across from me, each one carefully placed. Each one a silence I hadn't prepared for. Maybe they forgot. Maybe the baby had a fever. Maybe the car broke down. Maybe the phone died. Maybe. But no, deep down, I knew nobody was coming. I tried to eat. I lifted my fork, but the food tasted flat like grief had seasoned it in place of salt. I took 2 bites, maybe 3. Then I pushed the plate away and folded my arms on the edge of the table. There was a birthday card sitting near my plate. I had bought it for myself the week before, from the dollar store. It said, "You're still glowing in pink glitter," with stars and flowers. When I saw it in the aisle, I thought it was sweet, lighthearted. Now it felt like mockery. I stared at that card until my eyes blurred. And then I cried. Not the loud kind. Not the kind with wailing or rocking or anger. Just soft, slow, like a leak in the soul you didn't know was there until the water had already pooled around your ankles. I used the edge of the tablecloth to dab my eyes. I sat there in silence, letting it hurt, letting myself feel every ounce of it. Nobody called. Nobody texted. Not even a happy birthday. Mama, at around 10:30, I stood up. My knees ached more than usual. I wrapped the pie in foil, put everything else in the fridge. 1 dish at a time. Blew out the candles. Washed off the lipstick. Took off the earrings. I looked at myself in the mirror on the way to the bedroom. Still May. Still standing. But not the same. I put on my nightgown. Sat on the edge of the bed. And looked at the purple suitcase still by the door. Still packed. Still waiting. Still believing. I turned off the light. Laid back slowly. Let my hand rest on my stomach like I was holding myself together. The ceiling fan spun overhead, its blades whispering in rhythm. The only sound in the room. And I whispered too. Maybe they forgot. But even as I said it, I knew better. They didn't forget. They just didn't come. The morning after my 75th birthday, I woke up to a silence that didn't feel peaceful. It wasn't the kind of quiet that wraps around you like a blanket. No. This silence was hollow, like something had been taken out of the world and nothing rushed in to replace it. I sat up slowly. My joints were stiff. My knees ached more than usual. As if they, and 40.2, were grieving. The light through the window was pale and cold, not golden like the morning before. It felt distant, uninterested. I didn't check my phone, didn't even glance at it on the nightstand. I knew it hadn't lit up. No missed calls, no texts. Still nothing. I tied my scarf tight, pulled my old robe around me, and slid my feet into my house slippers. They made that soft shuffle sound against the wooden floor, too soft for a birthday that never truly arrived. I went to the kitchen, out of habit more than hunger. There was a pot of coffee left from the day before, cold, bitter. I poured it out and filled the kettle with water for tea instead. Something gentle, something warm. But I didn't drink it. I just stood there in the kitchen, staring at the yellow tea bag floating in silence. Even the steam felt reluctant that morning. I opened the fridge and saw the pie, the baked macaroni, the sweet potatoes and greens all packed up in glass dishes, untouched, waiting like I was. I closed the door. The sink was still full from last night. 5 plates, 5 glasses, 5 sets of silverware, all still there, as if the dinner had happened in some alternate world where love had shown up on time. I didn't wash them. Instead, I went to the couch, wrapped myself in the shawl Harold had given me years ago, the one with the faint scent of cedar and lavender, still clinging to it like memory. I sat there for a long time, didn't turn on the television, didn't play music, didn't even cry. I just sat. The ticking clock on the wall was the only thing that seemed sure of itself. Tick, 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 like it knew where it was going even when I didn't. It was nearly noon, and still no messages. Not even a single, "Sorry, Mama, we got teed up." I started to wonder if I'd imagined the whole thing. The promises, the planning, the purple suitcase by the door. Then came a knock. 3 soft taps. At first, I didn't move. Thought maybe I imagined that. 2. But then again, tap. 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 I shuffled over and peeked through the curtain. It was Tyrell. Sweet boy from 2 doors down. Always polite. Always checking in. Raised by a grandmother who believed in kindness and being good to your elders, he held a plastic grocery bag and wore a gentle smile. "Hey, Miss D," he said, lifting the bag a little. "Got you that lemon dish soap you mentioned?" I blinked. My throat tightened. "Oh, bless your heart. Baby," I said softly. "Come on in." He stepped into my kitchen like he belonged there, like kindness still had a seat at my table. He placed the bag down on the counter and glanced around. I thought about offering him tea, but he spotted my phone first, sitting face down on the table like it had been caught in a lie. "Still having trouble with your apps?" he asked. I nodded. "It keeps freezing up. You know how I am with these things. Press the wrong button and the whole world disappears." He chuckled, already pulling out a chair and unlocking the screen. "Let me take a look." I turned away, started wiping the counter. Though it was already clean, I just needed something to do with my hands, something that didn't involve holding heartbreak. Then I heard his voice. Gentle. "Miss D." I turned slowly. "Didn't you say your son was planning a trip for your birthday?" I nodded. Wary. "Yeah," I said. "He said it was postponed. He said they'd come for dinner instead." Tyrell hesitated. His eyes dropped to the phone in his hands. He didn't speak right away. "I didn't mean to snoop," he said, carefully. "But I follow your granddaughter on Instagram." "Amani." I blinked. My stomach tensed. "Okay." He turned the screen around, and there it was. My family on a beach somewhere smiling. Matching shirts. White sand. Blue sky. The caption read, "Much needed reset, number no drama, just sunshine." I stared at the photo. Frozen. Mouth open, but nothing came out. "Andre," Brianna, Amani, all there. None of them here. I kept staring at the photo. There they were, Andre, Brianna, Amani standing in front of a glittering hotel pool, with fruity drinks in their hands and matching vacation shirts like they'd stepped out of a brochure. Andre had a cigar. Brianna held a glass of champagne. Amani was twirling in a bright sundress, flashing a gold bracelet like it had just been gifted. And behind them, ocean, palm trees, sunlight so warm, it nearly made me flinch. The caption said, "Much needed reset, number no drama just sunshine." It had been posted the night before, on my birthday. I didn't speak. I didn't blink. He just stared. I slowly reached out and took the phone from Terrell's hands. I zoomed in, studied their smiles, their eyes, the ease in their bodies, the joy. It wasn't just a last-minute day trip. It was a full vacation, a whole celebration, the kind with plane tickets, spa packages, fancy dinners, and little umbrellas in the drinks. And none of it included me. I scrolled to the next photo, and the next, and the next. Brianna on a lounge chair with sunglasses on, Andre laughing at something just out of frame, Amani posing near a buffet, spread so wide it looked like a cruise. Slide after slide, picture after picture, and not one word about me. Not one. "No, we miss you." "Mama, no, wish you were here." Nothing. Tyrell sat quietly beside me, not saying a word. He didn't need to. The silence between us was enough. My hands trembled slightly as I handed the phone back. They told me it was postponed. I whispered. They said they'd come by for dinner. I felt the sting behind my eyes before the tears fell. I tried to blink them back, like maybe if I held them in long enough, I could undo what I'd just seen. But they came anyway. My shoulders trembled. I gripped the edge of the kitchen table to keep from sinking. "They left me," I said. My voice cracked. "They really left me." Tyrell stood. He didn't say, "It'll be okay." He didn't try to fix it or make excuses. He just knelt beside me. "I'm so sorry, Miss D," he said quietly. "I thought you knew. If I had known, it's not your fault." "Baby," I said, wiping my face with the back of my hand. "It's mine, for believing them." He didn't argue. He didn't tell me not to blame myself. He just sat with me. And that, somehow, made it hurt even more. Because the people I birthed, raised, clothed, prayed over those people left me. But the boy 2 doors down, the one with no bloodline and no obligation, he stayed. After Tyrell left, I didn't cry. I just sat. The truth had already unraveled itself before me thread by thread. Photo by photo. There was nothing left to weep over. The ache wasn't sharp anymore. It was quiet. Still. Like my spirit had taken a seat and folded its hands in its lap. But I needed more than stillness. I needed facts. I needed to know exactly how far they'd gone with their lies. So I got up, walked over to the little desk in the corner where my old laptop sat. I hadn't touched it in weeks. Andre always said I didn't need to. "I'll handle the online stuff." "Mama, don't stress." But something in me stirred. I dusted off the keyboard, opened the screen, and typed in the one password I still remembered: Harold's birthday. It worked. The email loaded slowly. So many unread messages, promotions, notices, a few bank alerts I had never seen. I clicked on the search bar, typed reservation, just that one word, and there it was. The subject line hit me like a slap: "Thank you for booking with Palmares Grand Cancun, full package confirmation." I clicked it. The message was dated nearly a month ago. 7 nights. Ocean view. Resort spa access. Add-on excursions. Paid in full. Cardholder name Dolores N. Gvin. Billing address mine. Credit card used. Mine. Every detail the same card Andre asked to hold on to for emergencies just last month. I stared at the screen. My hands were trembling now. Not from age. From betrayal. They didn't just leave me out. They used me. Used my name. Used my money. Used my trust. They toasted by the ocean while I sat under dim kitchen light, reheating yams and smiling at a birthday card I'd bought for myself. They wore matching shirts on a beach I paid for while I cried in a dress I had ironed for them. They lied. Right to my face. And something in me, something quiet, something old stood up. I wasn't angry yet. I was clear. I closed the laptop. Stood up. Walked to the hallway mirror. Same mirror Harold put up years ago. Same reflection. But not the same woman. Not anymore. If you're still here, thank you. Really. Stories like this, quiet ones, heavy ones, they're not easy to tell. And they're not always easy to hear either. But maybe something in it reminded you of someone, or of yourself. If it did, I'd love to know what you're feeling. Share a little in the comments. I read every word. You never know, your voice might be the one someone else needed to hear. And if stories like these mean something to you, you can always subscribe to Tenacity Tales. That way, we'll keep each other company through the quiet parts. The road ahead for me isn't over yet. We're only just beginning. The next evening, he came. Not with a knock. Not with an apology. He just walked in. Like it was still his house. Like the locks hadn't changed, and neither had I. I was in the kitchen folding dish towels. I didn't look up. "Hey, Mama," he said casually, placing something on the table behind me. "We brought you something." I turned around slowly. It was a small white paper bag. Neat. Folded at the top. Like a favor at a fancy event. I didn't move toward it. Just stood there. Towel still in hand. "What is it?" "Red velvet cake," he said, pulling out a chair. "From that place downtown you like?" "Real fancy. Figured you'd want something sweet." I looked at the bag. Then at him. "Is that what you brought back from Mexico?" His smile flickered. Just for a second. Then he chuckled like it was no big deal. "Oh, so you saw the photos." "I saw everything," I said, voice steady. "The shirts? The beach? The steak? The bracelet on Amani's wrist? The champagne? The view?" He scratched the back of his neck. "A nervous tic from childhood. Mama, we didn't think you'd want to travel all that way. Long flight. Different climate. We figured, that's not what you told me." I stepped around the table slowly, looking at him, not with anger, with clarity. "You said it was postponed. You said you'd come for dinner." Andre Schogel. His mouth tightening. Plans changed. "It wasn't that deep." "Not that deep," I said it quietly. But it landed like thunder between us. "You used my credit card?" "Andre. Paid for everything. In my name, my address, my money." He leaned back in the chair like I'd struck him. "What, it's not like that. You gave me the card. I figured. You figured your mama who cooked a whole dinner and set a table in a dress would be fine being left behind. Lied to. Funded the trip and got forgotten." His face darkened. He was annoyed now. "Mama? Come on. It was just one birthday. You've had 74 of them." I gripped the edge of the counter. "Yes. And this was the first one without your father. And I thought maybe, just maybe, my son wanted to be there with me." He sighed and sat back down like the weight of my words was an inconvenience. "You're being dramatic." That stopped me. Dramatic. I took a breath, my chest rising and falling slowly. "Do you remember when you were 10 sick for 3 nights straight? I stayed up holding a cool cloth to your head, feeding you applesauce, whispering that it would be okay. Do you remember when I pawned my wedding ring so you could get braces? When I skipped dinner some nights so you could eat seconds? He looked away. Do you remember how you used to fall asleep on my lap during thunderstorms? Calling me your favorite person in the world. I stepped closer now. Not towering. Just standing? And now you think this abandonment isn't that deep. He didn't answer. And I didn't cry. Not this time. I just turned back to the pantry, grabbed the broom, and said softly, "You can go." He blinked, confused. "Mama, I need to sweep. And I don't like sweeping around things that don't belong in my house." For a moment, he just stood there. Then, slowly, he walked out, didn't slam the door, didn't say goodbye, just left. The red velvet cake sat untouched on the table behind me. Still warm, still soft. But now, just a symbol of everything I no longer hungered for. A few weeks passed after Andre walked out. Quiet weeks. Not the soft kind. The hard kind. The kind where you sit with a cup of tea and forget to sip. The kind where the hum of the refrigerator sounds louder than your own voice. I didn't call him. And he didn't call me. I could feel the distance between us growing thicker, heavier like a fog you can't walk through. Only watch from your porch as it swallows the road. Groceries ran low. Bills stacked up on the corner of the kitchen table. Unopened. Like unopened wounds. I've been through worse. I told myself. But this felt different. It wasn't just about food or money. It was the hollow, the hurt of knowing someone had looked at you not as a mother, but as a resource. I would have stayed silent. Maybe. Kept patching holes with hope. But Tyrell, sweet boy that he is, showed up one afternoon with a plastic bag of eggs and a carton of milk. Just because I figured you might be running low. And as I put them away, I must have looked tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep cures. The other kind, because he tilted his head and said, "You know, Miss D, my grandma used to talk about this retired judge at the community center. Nora Blake. She helps women out, especially older ones. Just with advice. Legal stuff. Finances. She don't play games." I nodded slowly. I didn't say yes. But I didn't say no either. The next afternoon, Nora came. She didn't come with pity. She didn't come to rescue me. She came with flat shoes and a canvas tote full of folders. She had silver twist-out hair pulled back from her face, sharp eyes behind readers, and a voice that was brisk but kind. "Miss Gwyn," she said, shaking my hand firmly. "I hear you might need a little guidance." "Just a little?" I said, gesturing toward the kitchen table. "Bad month." She sat down like she wasn't in a rush, like she had done this before. Many times. She asked a few questions. Nothing too invasive. Then, gently, she asked, "Do you mind me asking, do you have any savings retirement accounts?" I did. I said, "Well, I do, but my son's been helping me manage it." Said I didn't have to worry about all that anymore. She gave a small nod. "That knowing kind? And how involved are you in that management?" I paused. Looked at my hands. "Not very. He has the login. He pays the bills. It just lit him." She tilted her head slightly. Her voice didn't change, but something in her leaned closer. "Would you be open to logging in today? Just a quick look. Make sure everything's where it should be." He hesitated, not because I was scared of what I'd see, but because deep down, I already knew. Still, I nodded. Went and got the laptop. It took a few tries, my hands shaking. The keys stiff from dust, but I got in. We sat side by side. Nora didn't gasp, didn't raise her eyebrows. She just scrolled quietly, methodically, like she'd seen too many of these stories to be surprised anymore. Finally, She turned toward me. Not like a judge, but like a woman who had stood where I stood. Miss Gwynn, she said gently, your account has been drained. Thousands of dollars, little by little, transferred into a second account. Not yours. I didn't say anything, just stared at the screen. Resort payments, electronics, even something marked as consulting fees. All of it routed through your son's personal bank account. My throat burned. I swallowed hard. He said money was tight. Said he was trying to build something. Said it was temporary. Nora didn't flinch. You are not a loan office. Miss Gwynn, she said, you're a mother. You are not here to be bled dry while smiling through it. I blinked. My hands clenched in my lap so tightly they hurt. I wanted to argue, but the words were gone. Because deep down, I knew she wasn't wrong. She reached into her tote, pulled out a folder, and laid it in front of me. You said you wanted help? I can help. But you have to be ready to stop confusing sacrifice with love. I didn't open the folder. Not yet. But I didn't push it away either. It didn't take long. Barely a week passed after Nora sat at my kitchen table, showing me the truth in black and white. The numbers were still ringing in my ears, like a hymn I didn't want to remember. And then there he was, André, knocking this time, though not sheepish, louder than necessary, like he was proud just to show up. I opened the door. He had that old grin on his face, the one he wore when he wanted something. That tilt in his head, the over-casual way he leaned against the doorway. Hey, Mama, he said, like nothing had happened. You got a minute? I got good news. I didn't invite him in, but I didn't shut the door either. He stepped inside like he always had the right. Saturday down at the table, like it still belonged to him. So, he began, hands rubbing together, voice all smooth and excited. I found this property. Real potential. Mama, a little rough, but with some investment, it could turn into something. I stood there, not moving, just watching. He kept going. But here's the thing, I need to move quick before someone else grabs it. So I was thinking, maybe you could front me part of the inheritance now, just enough to lock in the down payment. 40 grand. Tops. He said it like he was asking for a glass of water. I didn't blink. Didn't flinch. Just said, I don't have that kind of money. He laughed short, disbelieving. Sure you do. You just don't want to help. There it was. That shift. From sweet to sour. From son to stranger. My voice stayed calm. You've been helping yourself. André, I saw the charges. The vacations. The jewelry. The transfers. You've been draining my account. His face changed, eyes narrowing. Excuse me, you went through my stuff. No. I said, I went through mine. He stood up now. Taller. Louder. So what? You gonna cut me off now? After everything I've done for you? I stared at him. Not with anger. With something heavier. Something final. You mean lying to me? Leaving me alone on my birthday? Using my name to book resorts while I sat in a dress you never came to see? That's what you've done for me. His voice rose. You do this? You'll be all alone. Don't come crying to me when something happens. I walked over to the counter, picked up Nora's business card, held it in front of me like a seal. I won't. He stared at me waiting, hoping I'd soften, that I'd say fine. Baby, like I used to. That I'd give him what he came for. But I didn't. He stormed out, muttering something I didn't catch, and I didn't ask him to repeat it. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the clock on the wall. I walked over and straightened it. Then I stood still for a long moment, letting silence be what it was. Then I picked up the phone, called the woman who helped me see straight. Nora, I said, Let's get started. It started with a folder. Nora came back the next day early. On time. With her tote bag full of pages and a look in her eye that said, "We move now." We sat at the same kitchen table where I once folded napkins and hoped for a birthday dinner. This time, I wasn't waiting for anyone. This time, I was signing my name. Nora pulled out documents one by one, calm, clear, professional, but her tone, that belonged to a friend. "First, we'll move all your money to a new account. One he doesn't know about. Not linked to your old email or phone. You'll get a new card. We'll update all automatic payments." I nodded. Heart pounding but steady. "Next, we freeze your credit. That way, no new accounts can be opened in your name. Not by you. Not by him. It's a safety net. Nothing more." I nodded again. I wasn't scared. Not anymore. I was wide awake. Now, about the previous charges resorts. Electronics. Those large transfers. We're going to report them. It won't be a criminal case yet, but it creates a record. In case anything escalates. I signed where she pointed. My hand didn't shake. For years, I'd signed school forms, field trip slips, loan guarantees, all for him. Now I was signing for me. "Do you want to revoke power of attorney?" she asked. Gently. "Yes," I said without pause. "He doesn't speak for me anymore." She smiled a little. Not a grin. Just a nod of respect. We moved efficiently. She helped me file formal letters to my bank. Cancelled old authorizations. She showed me how to check my balance. How to set alerts. She gave me back something I hadn't even realized I'd given up, my agency. And for every step we took, a brick lifted off my back. I wasn't angry. I was free. It was a Saturday morning, sunlight soft. The house still. I had just finished folding towels and was reaching for the tea kettle when I heard them. Footsteps on the porch. Fast. Heavy. 2 pairs. The door flung open before I could even reach the knob. Andre. And Brianna. He came in first, storm in his face. Tension in his shoulders. She trailed behind. No makeup this time. No heels. Just a sweatshirt. Tight lips. And tired eyes. "What the hell is going on?" Andre barked. His voice echoing too loud for my little kitchen. I didn't flinch. I'd been waiting. I set the kettle down gently. "You'll need to be more specific. My accounts are locked. My bank app won't open. My card just got declined at the gas station." "Mama, are you trying to ruin me?" I looked at him. Calm. Like I'd rehearsed this moment in my head 100 times. "I'm trying to protect what's mine." He took a step forward. Chest puffed. "You really going to do this to your own son?" Before I could answer, Brianna cut in, voice low, almost trembling. "I told you this was going to blow up." Andre turned to her. "Stay out of it." "No," I said, cutting in. "Let her speak. I'd love to hear what y'all told yourselves while you were sipping drinks on my birthday with my money." Brianna looked away, arms crossed, silent. Andre didn't back down. We needed help. The business wasn't taking off. "You always said your money was for family. My money was for emergencies," I said, stepping closer. "Groceries, medicine, maybe a college fund for my granddaughter. Not for flights to Cancun and steak dinners while I sat home alone in a dress." His face tightened. "We were going to pay it back." "When?" I asked. "After the funeral. When you sell the house, you already spent like I was gone." He blinked. Hard. And then his voice dropped cold. Sharp. "You've always made things harder than they needed to be." I looked at him. Steady. "And you've always made promises you never kept? You promised to be here. You promised we'd travel together. You promised I wouldn't feel forgotten." He didn't answer. So I walked to the cabinet drawer, pulled out a white envelope, and laid it on the table. "What's that?" he asked. "My new will." He frowned. "What?" "Everything I have, every cent. Every bond. The house is going to a nonprofit. A shelter downtown. They help women like me. Older. Used. Forgotten. I'm not leaving anything to you." His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He looked stunned. "You're cutting me out of your will. You cut yourself out the day you saw me as a wallet instead of a mother." Brianna was crying, now quiet. "Real." She stepped back. "I didn't know it was that deep." She whispered, "I thought you were okay with it. Andra said you didn't mind." "You knew," I said softly. "Even silence can tell the truth." She nodded once, didn't say more, just grabbed her purse and walked toward the door. No goodbye, no defense, just gone. Andre stood there, fists clenched, jaw tight. "So what now?" he asked. "Now," I said, "you walk out of my house, just like you walked out of my life." He lingered a moment longer, like he wanted one last jab, but there was nothing left to say. He turned, left the door open behind him. And the moment he stepped off that porch, the house felt still again. Not broken, not bitter. Still, like peace had finally arrived. 1 year. That's how long it had been since the door slammed behind Andre. Since I stood in my own hallway and said, "No more." And it didn't kill me. The world didn't collapse without him. My roof stayed where it was. The fridge still hummed. The church still sang. And me, I kept breathing. Some days were hard. There were mornings when I'd wake up and wonder if I was too harsh. If maybe I should have picked up the phone when he called 4 weeks later. Or when he texted, "So it's like that." Yes, it was like that. Because the woman who sat alone on her 75th birthday was no longer waiting by the window. She was planning something different this year. My 76th birthday didn't come with promises. It didn't need to. I made the plans myself. I reserved the small room at the community center. The one with the round tables and the dusty old piano in the corner. I called in favors. Not from people who owed me, but from those who loved me. Miss Gwen from the quilting circle. Mr. Otis, who plays gospel on his keyboard. And the women from the shelter downtown. I wore a gold dress. Not yellow. Not tan. Gold. And I didn't put on that dress hoping someone would notice me in it. I wore it because I liked how it hugged my shoulders. How it shimmered just enough to remind me I was still here. Still shining. I brought deviled eggs, fried chicken, red beans and rice, lemon-glazed pound cake, the real kind, not the box mix. Tyrell arrived first, like always, with 24 flowers and a Bluetooth speaker playing Mahalia Jackson. "You look like sunshine, Miss D," he said. "That's because I ain't waiting on clouds no more." I smiled. Next came Nora, dapper as ever, wearing a wide-brim hat and that looked like she knew just what this moment meant. She gave me a kiss on the cheek and said, "Told you light finds its way back." Then came the women from the foundation. Strong, proud, in purple and gold. Some with canes, some with grandbabies tugging at their skirts. All of them survivors. We laughed. We danced. We broke bread. I didn't make a speech, but I did raise my glass once. To quiet strength. I said, "And birthdays that belong to you?" And just when I thought that was the final guest, there came a soft knock. 3 taps. I turned, and there she was. Imani. There she stood, just outside the doorway, clutching a folded birthday card in both hands. Her hair wasn't done up. No sparkly barrettes like before. Just a plain bun. No makeup. Not even earrings. Nothing to distract from the look on her face. Nervous. Real. Grandma, she said. Voice small. I looked at her. My granddaughter. The same little girl who used to sit on a stool beside me, stirring grits with both hands, who once tried to make pound cake from memory and left out the sugar. Now here she was taller, older. But in that moment, I saw the same child in her eyes. I didn't know what they were doing, she said softly. Daddy told me you didn't want to travel, that you were too tired. And I believed him. Her eyes brimmed. But she didn't cry. Not yet, but I saw the receipts later. I saw everything, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Grandma, I didn't mean to be part of that. I let her speak. Didn't interrupt. Didn't reach for her. Just listened. Can I stay? She asked, still holding the card tight. I didn't answer right away. I looked her up and down, not to judge, but to feel the weight of the moment. Then I turned, walked over to the table, and picked up a paper plate. If you want a slice of that lemon pound cake? I said, you better get it before Miss Nora does. She's already eyeing the last piece. A flicker of relief crossed her face. She stepped inside slowly, clutching the card like it might break. I didn't hug her. Not yet. She hadn't earned that back, but I gave her a seat. And sometimes, that's the first way forgiveness shows up. Tyrell offered to drive me home. He insisted. Really said I shouldn't be carrying all those flowers on my own. I didn't argue. Just smiled, gathered my shawl, and slid into the front seat of his little silver sedan, cradling the bouquet in my lap like something sacred. The sun was dipping low behind the houses, soft gold bleeding into pink. Was today better than last year? He asked. Eyes on the road, but voice gentle. I looked out the window for a long moment before answering. It wasn't better, I said slowly, but it was mine. He nodded. Didn't push. Didn't need to. When we got to my house, the porch lights were already on Harold's old string lights, flickering like fireflies. I stepped out of the car carefully, holding the flowers close. You want help with anything? Tyrell asked. No, baby. I said, go on home. I'm all right. He watched me climb the steps before driving off. I stood there for a while on the porch. In the cool evening breeze, the same breeze that used to carry the sounds of my family's laughter, but tonight, it only carried peace. I looked out across the street. Quiet. Still. Then I turned and went inside, hung up my shawl, changed into my robe, put the kettle on. I didn't check my phone, didn't scroll, didn't wait. I just sat at my kitchen table with a warm cup of tea between my hands, steam rising slow like breath after crying, and I smiled, not because I was happy, but because I was whole. If this story left you still for just a moment, that's more than enough. Tell us where you're listening from, or what part moved your heart. A single comment, or one gentle subscribe, helps Tenacity Tales keep honoring what's real. If you stayed until the end, thank you. Sometimes, just being here quietly, fully means everything. If this story stirred something in you, hold it gently. And if you feel moved to share, a comment, a like, or a quiet subscribe helps Tenacity Tales keep the fire going. Because some stories shouldn't be left in the dark.